case is true, are so huge that it would be the biggest revelation in the human experience. We would have to rethink everything we think we know about ourselves, our place in the cosmos. And it is scary.
UFOs are one of the great unexplained mysteries of human existence, and yet the idea of them is so controversial and so divisive, it's almost taboo to even talk about them. Well, in this series, we're going there, and we're going deep.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at the fly. A UFO. Yeah.
My name is Stephen Greenstreet. I'm a journalist with the New York Post. Over the next few episodes, we're going to examine the UFO phenomenon from every possible angle, including video evidence.
What is it? It's some kind of light. No, it's not.
No.
Witness accounts,
I saw this up close and personal.
and scientific analysis,
It almost suggests a new physics.
all with the hope of gaining a better understanding of just what the heck these things are.
Investigation going on as we speak to find out what this is.
Are they man-made or are they alien?
Don't get him too close to me, please.
That's the loaded question we'll keep returning to in this series, but for all you skeptics watching, by the end of this episode, I guarantee you're going to be convinced something is out there. Because even if you don't believe in UFOs, our government definitely does.
We want the United States government to stop perpetuating the myth that all UFOs can be explained away in down-to-earth and conventional terms.
Welcome to the Basement Office. We are going to begin our series by dissecting the government's involvement in the world of UFOs. The mind-blowing fact the military has admitted that they exist, and that according to the Pentagon, they pose a, quote, threat to our homeland. We have the government insider when it comes to this matter, a man who has been called the real-life Fox Mulder, thanks to his work researching UFOs, Nick Pope. Nick, you're very credentialed, you've got a lot, your resume is quite expansive. Why don't you give me the nuts and bolts of it?
I worked for the British government for 21 years at the Ministry of Defence, and for much of the early 90s, I ran the UK's UFO program. So my job was to research and investigate the phenomenon and come to a judgment about whether there was evidence of any threat to the defence of the UK or anything of more general scientific interest.
So you've outlined everything you did in the UK investigating UFOs. Does the US government have a similar program?
Yes, the US started in the UFO game in 1947, and they had then 3 programs under the name Sign, Grudge, and Blue Book. Blue Book was the most famous, long-running one. It was essentially the same thing. Research and investigate the phenomenon, see if there's a threat.
Since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1 and 2,000 reports. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States.
So that was a public program. Then in 1969, they pulled the plug. They said, okay, we've investigated, haven't found any evidence of a threat. We're out of the business of looking at this. And very recently, it was revealed that actually they did have a program and probably still do. And I'm amazed how little political fallout there has been over the fact that the media and the US people were effectively misled on that issue for decades.
The truth came out in December of 2017, when the New York Times published a bombshell story revealing the existence of a secret Pentagon program to investigate UFOs called ATIP, or Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Here's what the Pentagon told me the mission was. The ATIP program did pursue research and investigation into unidentified aerial phenomena. The Department of Defense is always concerned about maintaining positive identification of all aircraft in our operating environment, as well as identifying any foreign capability that may be a threat to the homeland. The department will continue to investigate through normal procedures reports of unidentified aircraft encountered by U.S. military aviators in order to ensure defense of the homeland and protection against strategic surprise by our nation's adversaries. Back in 2017, when the New York Times published their report, they also released a number of videos revealing Navy encounters with UFOs. In an exclusive statement to the Post, the Pentagon told me these videos were, quote, for research and analysis purposes by U.S. government agencies and industry partners, and not for general public release. So the general public was never supposed to see these videos. One of these three took place off the coast of San Diego in 2004, involving the USS Nimitz and two of its F-18 Navy fighter jets. This is the footage that was captured. They see this tic-tac object, which you're seeing here in this footage, and the pilot said it was at least as long as his plane. It's about 40 feet, so the thing you're looking at is about 40 feet long. But he said there was another object below it, just underneath the surface of the water, that was maybe 10 times as long. And this tic-tac was like hovering above the surface of the water, and then would just disappear. And he said there were like two antenna, L-shaped antenna, like on the bottom of this thing. Now, while the footage itself, alone without context, offers nothing mind-blowing, the story behind what you're looking at is, why should I be worried or dig deeper into the Nimitz footage?
You don't know what you're looking at, but that, in a sense, is the point of the story. You don't know what you're looking at. The pilots don't know what they're looking at. The radar operators don't know what they're tracking, and the whole radar aspect of this story is very important in terms of corroboration. It's not just these trained observers, the pilots. It's being tracked on radar too. And in a sense, the story is simply that the US military in their fastest jets can't catch these UFOs. They are running rings around them. There's something out there, and there's this marvelous quote that I think one of the pilots came out with after this, when he was asked, well, what do you think? He said, I don't know what it was, but I sure as heck want to fly one. Now, when a US Navy, when one of the top guns tells you something like that, this should be telling everyone something about UFOs.
Right. And it's fascinating to hear, like, we're going to watch this 2015 footage. The 2015 footage was taken off the East Coast, same deal, FLIR footage from Navy fighters.
Dude, this is drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not LNS though, is it? It's not. That is LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Guys, what blows my mind is, again, people whose full-time jobs are to defend this country, to take to the air, identify threats, know when they're there, and to take them out. They see these things and they're like, wait, what do we do?
And when they start suddenly saying, look at that thing go, like, there's a whole fleet of them. Wow. And you can hear the tension and excitement in their voices, and you know that something extraordinary was going on.
Yes. And the last clip we're going to play is the third of these three videos that were released. It's called the Go Fast UFO, where these pilots observe an extremely fast-moving object and are able to actually hone in on it. Their cameras are actually able to lock on this object, and you hear it in their voice. In fact, I'm going to turn it down because they get so loud. There it is. They're trying to lock in on it. This thing's moving.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, over. Roger. They're troubleshooting as soon as Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Look at it fly.
They're watching this thing zip so fast, and they're like, look at that thing moving. These are guys that move for a living. These are guys that do fly for a living. And they're blown away.
Exactly. When you fly thousands of miles an hour, you don't get excited about that kind of thing unless it's orders of magnitude beyond it. And clearly they were seeing and experiencing something they'd never come across before.
Apparently, these clips are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to naval encounters with UFOs. In fact, pilots have experienced so many sightings that in recent weeks, brass has been forced to implement an official reporting protocol. But it turns out, UFOs aren't just a Navy problem. I spoke with John Greenwald, who runs the Black Vault, a site dedicated to unearthing government secrets by using the Freedom of Information Act. And he discovered that the Air Force is also dealing with UFO sightings.
There's an Air Force manual that was called 10-206. It was undeniable proof that the Air Force was mandating their personnel officers to report UFOs. And so I traced the lineage of that particular document all the way through where the UFO reports had gone and so on. I am comfortable saying that there were UFO procedures, and obviously they're there for a reason to investigate. And what I did through the Freedom of Information Act was not only discover that document, but throughout the years see that they were actively updating it. Now, why is this important? Well, because you can easily argue if something is not updated, that it's potentially a manual, a procedure, something on the books that they forgot about, that they don't care about. But they were actively updating it. And UFOs, specifically in Chapter 5 of this manual, never came out.
What that tells me, I mean, if UFOs were bunk, if UFOs didn't exist, if UFOs weren't anything that the military should be concerned about, it wouldn't be in a manual for the Air Force, right?
That's right.
Bigfoot's not in the U.S. Air Force manual, is it?
No.
You know, the Yeti isn't. Ghosts aren't in the U.S. Air Force manual. UFOs are. Do UFOs exist, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Navy is not alone in encountering UFOs. The Air Force literally has it in their manual. We have video evidence of this. This is a video clip from Nellis Air Force Base, which is very close to actually Area 51 out in Nevada, of a round saucer-looking object flying about. And the military folks viewing this and observing this are commenting on it. What the heck is this thing? Do we have anything out? What's going on? I don't know. And of course, this being close to Area 51 could be anything. But the fact that these guys on base have no idea.
This is where it gets interesting to me. Now, I don't buy into many of the conspiracy theories about this, most of which say, well, it's probably some secret military program. These are the people that run the secret military programs, and when they're the ones having the discussion saying, hey, we've got this weird thing, then it should be a wake-up call for everyone.
And military personnel are not the only pilots encountering UFOs. We're actually going to listen to audio, FAA audio, of commercial airliners having close encounters. This first one takes place off the coast of Oregon in 2017.
Did you know that target south of the boundary there, that 0027 code moving very fast at 37,000?
Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Huh. And you don't have anything on him, huh?
I got nothing.
Well, look.
Yeah, it's United 612. It's just a white speck out there. I mean, we can see it, but there's no identification on it, just that it's there.
Where this guy ended up, we don't know.
Oh, so we still don't know.
No. The fighters scrambled. They went out looking around a little bit, but we lost anybody having sight of the aircraft.
Wow, that's weird.
It's really weird, yeah.